Hi Elliot, time for another installment. So I'm going to show you three things here. One is give you another look at a different hemp nursery and how they've grown, but also maybe show you why it is that I spread the plants apart so much, and one of the things I look for fiber. I'm going to show you then our bean nursery. No, not the nursery, the trials. And then I'll show you a few morphological differences in the beans. So I'll try to be quick on this one because the last one got a little bit too long. So anyway, here we go into the corn. You can see the corn's grown pretty well. This is just one of our fiber nurseries, kind of on the smaller side. But the important thing is, last time you saw this nursery, actually you saw the grain nursery, but a nursery like this, the plants are real small. You did see the trials last week and the plants were big. These are even bigger now. And again, we have like 6 feet between the rows so that we can get a rototiller, a big tractor mountain rototiller through here and get the weeds out. You can see we've done some hand weeding as well. But the most important thing is you can see individual plants in here as I'm kind of going down the row. They're not at 20 plants per square foot. They're at 2 plants per square foot, something that is a lot easier for me to look into individual plants. They're just starting to flower. They've been flowering for the last week or so. And I'll show you, this is fiber that we're looking for. And one of the things that I'm interested in is to have plants for fiber that have long internodes. So here's where leaves attach down here, and here's the next set of leaves. So this is all the internode space, and I'm looking for internodes that are at least 8 inches. And so I've got my bottom of my hand resting on the leaves down here, and you can see I've got an inch or even more above my thumb. So this is about a 9-inch internode at breast height, which is really good. I only started selecting for high internode length just a couple years ago, and the plants really respond well. I might have said that in the last video, but holy cow, they really seems to be something that's highly heritable, as they say. That is a lot of, to get technical about it, it's a lot of additive genetic variants is what it's called. That's easy to kind of fix in the plants. And so you can see a lot of these plants in here. All these plants came from the same mother. They're half sibs because the dad's at random from the population here. But you can see they all tend to have really nice long internodes. So this one's not so good, but you don't expect all of them to be perfect, but holy cow, they look pretty good. And the whole thing I wanted you to see here is the space is important just so I can get through the plants. They're going to do a lot more branching. We'll see these later in the year, and the branches will pretty much be touching once the plants get up in the 8 to 10 feet tall range. Let's go see the beans. Corn's doing okay, so are the weeds here. Mostly pigweed. This is velvet leaf. It's good for wiping your butt if you're out in the field. Sorry, I didn't say that, but it's true. This is just a fallow space that the crew has planted. I think it's called a tillage radish. It'll have a nice big root that goes deep. It's like a daikon radish if you have those long white things. They go down, kind of puncture what's called the plow pan, which is the bottom of where the plow goes through the field, about 9 inches down or so. And as the plow hits that, it kind of slides along there. And if you've got much clay in the soil, then it forms this hard layer like clay will when you manipulate it. These radishes punch through it and also add their own organic matter. So that's kind of what's going on with that cover crop. So here we have, let me back up so you can see it more. This is our bean nursery, dryable beans. This is like navy beans, pinto beans, stuff like that. Those are all dry beans. These are varieties that I've developed mostly for urban sales in CSA, through CSAs or farmers markets, for really home cooks or restaurants. I want chefs to be really interested in them, maybe institutions like schools. And the thing about them is that they are variable in seed color. So a variety has a blend of colors that I've kind of curated to make them look nice. There are only 6 varieties here, 4 rows at a time. And what I do with these 4 rows is the outer two rows are what are called guard rows. They just help create the environment for the middle two rows, and I'll harvest the central 15 feet of these two rows, and that's what will be used for the yield. All right, so then we have another 4 rows, and you can kind of maybe see they're a little different. And then the third 4 rows. Anyway, so there's 6 rows here. 3 of them are some of my varieties, and then the other 3 are commercial Czech varieties. One of the commercial Czech varieties is one that I developed at Guelph, of all things, that farmers used to use. They don't use it now because every 4 or 5 years they get superseded by new varieties, but one of them down here. Anyway, here's, I'm not going to take you through all the reps, but in the hemp trial, we had more like 15 varieties and 3 reps. This one, we have only 6 varieties and 4 reps. And I just want all that information on especially the 3 I'm interested in, so that when I talk to growers, I can say, and here is the seed yield, so that I've gotten to, and hopefully it's good, to encourage them to pencil out at least whether or not they could make a profit or loss from growing this stuff. All right, so on to what I want you to see about morphology. So I've got on the left here one variety, on the right here a different variety. And I bet even with this smartphone video, you might be able to see differences initially in color, like it's a little bit lighter on the right, a little bit darker on the left. Also, the leaves are a little bit bigger on the right, a little bit smaller on the left. None of those things are necessarily important agronomically. It's just they're different defining characteristics of the varieties, and you can see differences. One of the things that could be agronomically important is if you look in the canopy of this one, you can see it's flowering really well. Every plant in the row is flowering, and it's flowering in lots of different positions, and it's flowering almost right up to the top node. So it's really into it. You can also see probably in here that we've got both purple flowers and white flowers. That's 2 different plants. You get only white or only purple on a particular plant, but the fact we've got some purple and white ones here and here is just confirming that we have differences, different genotypes within this variety that are going to lend themselves to different colors. If you take a look at the other variety, you can see, well, it's not flowering yet, so it's later maturity. And oftentimes later maturity is associated with a little bit higher yield, but it's also later, and it might not fit into your farm plans if you want to get it harvested early. So it provides growers with a little more choice. The other thing I want you to see here is this vine. This is characteristic of what's called an indeterminate variety. That is, the apical meristem remains vegetative and will continue to grow a vine, and the nodes below it will become reproductive and produce flowers. So this is a sort of plant that never completely matures. In maybe 6 weeks it'll pretty much stop flowering, but until then it's going to continue to flower, so you have different maturities on the same plant. I probably mentioned that at hemp. It's more extreme in hemp for sure than in beans. But nevertheless, we have these vines. And when you take a look at this variety, except for a few outliers, these are bush types. These are determinate varieties where the apical meristem is vegetative for a while and then becomes reproductive. And once an apical meristem becomes reproductive and have flowers, the plant doesn't grow vertically any further. It maybe branches some, but that pretty much stops its growth. So it has 2 distinct phases, a vegetative phase, and then when the apical meristem becomes reproductive, that's the reproductive stage. These guys, it's not quite as distinct. Okay, that kind of is a wrap for this installment. So we've seen the wide rows and the growth in the hemp, the fiber hemp. I've shown you the large internodes, and then also you've seen these trials, this 4-rep 6 variety trial, and just a little introduction of some of the morphological differences. All right, take care of yourself, and I'll come in with another one. I'm going to be, I think, about 2 weeks in Canada on vacation. I bet I can put together a video for you there too of something around our place there. All right, take care. Bye for now, Al.